Rain hammered down on the streets of Chicago that Thursday night in late October. Sarah Mitchell gripped her umbrella tightly as she hurried down Michigan Avenue, eager to get home and hug her daughter Emma. The clock on her phone read nearly 8 p.m., and the dark sky looked ready to unleash even more rain on the already drenched city. Sarah was 34 years old and carried the weight of being a single mother on her shoulders. She worked as an administrative assistant at a small accounting firm in the Loop. Her salary barely covered rent for their 2-bedroom apartment in Logan Square, but she never complained. Emma, her 8-year-old daughter, was her reason for living. The motivation that got her up every morning at 5 a.m. to face a 2-hour commute on the CTA. As she turned onto State Street, Sarah noticed a solitary figure on a corner. It was a young woman in a wheelchair, completely soaked, shivering in the cold beneath the torrential rain. The girl looked no more than 22 or 23, with dark blonde hair plastered to her face, wearing a white shirt that was now transparent from the water. There was no one around, no shelter, just this young woman abandoned to her fate. Sarah felt her heart tighten. For a brief moment, she thought about moving on. After all, Chicago was full of dangerous situations, and she had a daughter waiting at home, but something in those lost and frightened eyes made her stop. They were eyes that begged for help without saying a word. "Hey, are you okay?" Sarah approached, extending her umbrella over the young woman. The girl lifted her face, and Sarah could see tears mixed with rainwater. She opened her mouth to speak, but only a sob came out. "Oh my God, you're freezing! How long have you been out here?" Sarah took off her own coat and placed it over the girl's shoulders. "What's your name?" Ashley." The voice came out weak, barely audible over the storm's noise. "Ashley, do you have somewhere to go? Is there someone I can call?" The young woman shook her head, her eyes filling with tears again. "I don't have anyone." Sarah looked around. The rain was getting even heavier, and the wind was starting to blow violently. She thought about Emma, who was at their neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez's house, waiting for her arrival. She thought about the bills to pay, the problems she already had, but looking at this helpless young woman, vulnerable, abandoned like a discarded object on the street, Sarah simply couldn't move on. "Come with me," Sarah said firmly. "You can't stay here." "But I can't impose." "It's not an imposition. Nobody deserves to be like this, in the rain, alone. I live a few blocks from here. You're going to take a hot shower, eat something, and tomorrow we'll figure out the rest." Sarah grabbed the wheelchair handles and began pushing it down the sidewalk. The rain continued relentlessly, and both got even more soaked during the 15 minutes it took to reach the building where Sarah lived. It was an old structure with an elevator that rarely worked, and Sarah had to ask the building manager, Mr. Jackson, to help carry Ashley in the wheelchair up to the 3rd floor. When they finally entered the cozy but small apartment, Sarah went to get Emma from the neighbor's place. The girl with curious eyes and curly hair came running in and stopped when she saw the strange young woman in the living room. "Mom, who is she?" "Emma, this is Ashley. She's going to stay with us for a few days, okay? She needed help." Emma nodded with the seriousness that only children can have in important moments. "Hi, Ashley. I'm Emma. Do you want cookies?" Ashley smiled for the first time, and Sarah felt she had made the right decision. That night, after helping Ashley shower, lending her dry clothes and preparing hot soup, Sarah put Emma to bed and returned to the living room. Ashley was sitting on the couch, staring at her own hands. "Thank you," Ashley whispered. "You didn't have to do anything for me." Sarah sat beside her. "We all need help sometimes. Want to tell me what happened?" Ashley took a deep breath. "My family. They abandoned me. After the accident that left me like this," she tapped her own legs. "They didn't want me anymore. They said I was a burden, an inconvenience. Today, they left me on that corner and drove away." Sarah felt anger rise in her throat. What kind of people do that to their own family? "People who are ashamed to have a defective daughter," Ashley responded bitterly. "They tried to put me in a place. They said it was for my own good, but I knew they just wanted to get rid of me." "You're not defective, Ashley. You're a person who went through an accident. That doesn't define who you are." Ashley looked into Sarah's eyes, and something passed between them in that moment. A silent connection, a mutual understanding of two women who knew the pain of rejection and struggle. If you're enjoying this story, Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters. In the following days, a routine began to establish itself in Sarah's apartment. Ashley slept on the living room couch, and during the day, stayed with Emma while Sarah went to work. The girl loved having company and showed her toys, drawings, and books to her new friend. Sarah came home from work anxious to see how the day had gone, and always found Ashley and Emma laughing together, whether watching cartoons or doing some creative activity. Ashley's presence brought a lightness to that home that Sarah didn't even know was missing. A week after the stormy night, Sarah came home and found Ashley in the kitchen making dinner. The young woman had managed to adapt to the height of the furniture, and from her chair, was preparing spaghetti that smelled wonderfully good. "Ashley, you didn't need to. I wanted to do something for you. You've done so much for me, Sarah. Let me give back a little." During dinner, Emma excitedly told about the day, about how Ashley had helped with math homework, and then taught her to make origami. Sarah watched Ashley interact with her daughter, and felt something strange growing in her chest, something that went beyond compassion or solidarity. That night, after putting Emma to bed, Sarah and Ashley stayed talking in the living room, as had become their custom. They shared stories of their lives, dreams they'd had, and hopes they still kept. "You know, Sarah," Ashley said softly, "before the accident, I was in college. I was studying English literature. I always wanted to be a teacher. And what's stopping you from continuing?" "Everything. I have no way to support myself, no documents, nothing. My family controlled everything." "We'll figure it out," Sarah said with conviction. "Tomorrow we're going to the DMV to get duplicates of your documents. And about college, you can try for a scholarship, financial aid. Don't give up on your dreams because of people who didn't know how to value you." Ashley felt her eyes well up. "Why are you doing all this for me? You don't even know me." Sarah held Ashley's hand, and the electric touch between them made both hesitate for a second. "Maybe because I see in you someone strong, intelligent, with so much to offer the world. And maybe because I also know what it's like to feel alone." They remained silent, hands intertwined, hearts beating faster, feeling something new and frightening being born between them. Saturday dawned sunny in Chicago, a stark contrast to the storm that had brought Ashley into Sarah's life. The two women and Emma had breakfast together, and Sarah announced they would go out to sort Ashley's documentation. At the DMV, while waiting in line, Ashley seemed nervous. Sarah noticed and gently touched her shoulder. "Is everything okay? It's just, when they ask for information, my family's data will appear, and they might find out where I am." Sarah hadn't thought of that. "Ashley, you're of legal age. They can't force you to go back. And if necessary, we'll file for a protective order. You don't understand. My family has money, has influence. They can do a lot." It was the first time Ashley had mentioned coming from a family with resources. Sarah was surprised, but didn't show it. "It doesn't matter who they are. You have rights, and I'm going to help ensure they're respected." When Ashley's turn came, she provided her information. Ashley Christine Whitmore, 22 years old, born in Chicago. The clerk typed in the information and frowned when he saw something on the screen. "Miss Whitmore, there's a missing person report filed in your name here." Ashley turned pale. Sarah stepped closer. "She's not missing. She left a dangerous situation of her own free will." The clerk looked at both, clearly uncomfortable. "I understand, but per protocol, I need to report that there's a record. Would you like me to update the status?" "Yes," Ashley said with a trembling voice. "I want it on record that I'm fine and safe." Leaving the DMV, Ashley was visibly shaken. Sarah suggested they go to a nearby park to get ice cream with Emma and relax a bit. At Millennium Park, while the girl played on the swings under Sarah's watchful eye, Ashley finally opened up completely. "Sarah, I need to tell you the whole truth. My family isn't just any family. My father is Christopher Whitmore, owner of a chain of luxury car dealerships. My mother, Victoria, is from an old-money Chicago family. I grew up in a world of appearances, country club parties, impossible expectations." Sarah listened in silence, letting Ashley vent. "The accident happened a year ago. I was coming back from the university, and a truck lost its brakes. It hit my car. I was in the hospital for 2 months, had several surgeries. The doctors said I would never walk again. And you know what my parents' reaction was? It wasn't concern. It was shame. Ashley wiped a tear running down her face. They hid me. They told people I was traveling, getting treatment abroad. When I came back home, they put me in a room on the second floor, away from visitors. My brother barely spoke to me, and then what? Then I told them I'm a lesbian. Ashley released the word as if it were a weight she'd been carrying for years. I always knew, but never had the courage to say it. But after the accident, after coming so close to death, I thought, if I survived, it was to live my truth. Sarah felt her heart race but kept her expression calm. And how did they react? How you'd imagine. They said I was confused, traumatized by the accident, that it was a phase, that it would pass. My father even said he wished I'd died in the accident rather than become this. And they started taking me to psychologists, to priests, to all kinds of people who promised to cure me. Ashley, that's terrible. The worst was when I discovered they were planning to commit me to a psychiatric facility. I heard my mother on the phone making arrangements for the treatment of her depression. I knew it wasn't about depression. It was about silencing me, hiding me, erasing me. So that night, when my father parked the car on that corner to pick up something from a store, I said I'd wait there. And when he went inside, I asked a delivery guy to push me a few blocks away. I used the money I had to pay him and stayed there, in the rain, not knowing what to do. Until you showed up. Sarah pulled Ashley into a tight hug. You were so brave, and I want you to know. Here, you can be who you are. No judgments, no shame. Ashley pulled back slightly and looked into Sarah's eyes. You're not afraid. You don't feel disgusted? Afraid of what? Of you being yourself? Ashley, Sarah hesitated, feeling she was about to say something important. I've also been through difficult situations. Emma is the result of a relationship that didn't work out. Her father left when he found out about the pregnancy. Never wanted to know about her. My family also judged me, said I'd lost my future, but I raised my daughter alone, with a lot of pride. And I learned that family isn't who shares blood with you. It's who stays by your side when everything falls apart. Sarah, you're incredible. I think I'm starting to feel something for you that goes beyond gratitude. Sarah felt her cheeks flush. She'd also noticed that her feelings for Ashley were changing, deepening in a direction she hadn't expected. She'd always considered herself straight, had never questioned her sexuality. But Ashley's presence awakened something new, an attraction that went beyond the physical. It was a connection of souls, a deep recognition. Want to know how this story continues? Subscribe to the channel. Ashley, I've also been feeling something different. I'm confused, because this is new to me. But it's not bad. In fact, it's frighteningly good. They both laughed, nervous, and watched Emma play, both processing that moment of vulnerability and truth. When they returned home at dusk, they found an unpleasant surprise. A black luxury car parked in front of the building. A man in a suit was leaning against the vehicle, and when he saw Ashley, he walked toward them. Ashley, thank God I found you. It was Marcus, Ashley's brother, 2 years older. What do you want, Marcus? Ashley asked coldly. To take you home. Mom and Dad are desperate. You can't be out here in this situation. In this situation? Sarah intervened, positioning herself between Marcus and Ashley. She's well cared for, safe, and happy. Marcus looked Sarah up and down with contempt. And who are you? The opportunist who's taking advantage of my sister's situation. Watch what you say, Sarah responded firmly, holding Emma's hand as the girl clung to her leg, frightened. Ashley moved the chair forward. Marcus, I'm not going back. And you have no right to show up here and insult the person who took me in when our own family threw me out on the street. We didn't throw you out on the street. You ran away. After discovering you were going to lock me up in a clinic, you wanted to erase me, Marcus. Pretend I don't exist because I don't fit the perfect Whitmore family standard. Marcus took a deep breath, trying to control himself. Ashley, be reasonable. You need medical care, physical therapy, proper treatment. How are you going to get that living in... He looked at the old building with disdain. This place. This place is a home, Marcus. Something our mansion never was for me. Look, I'm not going to argue with you in the street, but know that our parents are going to come after you, and they have the resources to do it. Is that a threat? It's a warning. Think about what you're doing, Ashley. Think about the life you're throwing away. Marcus got in the car and drove off, leaving a heavy atmosphere in the air. That night, after putting Emma to bed, the girl had asked 1,000 questions about the rude man. Sarah and Ashley talked about what to do. They're not going to give up, Ashley said, anguished. My father is extremely controlling. He doesn't accept that I made this decision on my own. We need legal help. I'm going to look for information about how you can protect yourself. You're of legal age. You have the right to choose where and how to live. But what if they manage to take me back? What if they prove I'm incapable because of the wheelchair? Sarah held Ashley's face in her hands. I won't let that happen. You're not alone anymore. Understand? I'm with you. Ashley looked deeply into Sarah's eyes, and without thinking much, leaned in and touched her lips to hers in a soft, hesitant kiss, charged with emotion. Sarah responded, and for a moment, all the problems disappeared, leaving only that pure and intense connection between two women discovering love unexpectedly. When they pulled apart, both were emotional. Sorry, I shouldn't have. Don't apologize, Sarah whispered. That was perfect. They spent the rest of the night talking, exchanging soft caresses on the couch, discovering a new intimacy that went beyond the physical. It was a fusion of souls that had found each other at the right time. Monday started tense. Sarah had scheduled a consultation with a lawyer specializing in civil rights, recommended by the social worker at the neighborhood health clinic. Mrs. Rodriguez, the neighbor, stayed watching Emma and Ashley while Sarah went to the office. Attorney Patricia Davis was a woman of about 45, with a serious posture but a welcoming gaze. Sarah told Ashley's entire story, and the lawyer listened attentively, taking notes. Ashley's situation is complex, but not impossible, Ms. Davis explained. She's of legal age and legally capable. The fact that she uses a wheelchair doesn't make her incapable. We can request an emergency protective order to prevent the family from forcing any type of commitment or unwanted contact. How much does this cost? I can do it pro bono, at no cost. Cases like this are important to me. I've defended several people in situations of family vulnerability. Sarah felt enormous relief. Thank you so much, Ms. Davis. But I need to talk to Ashley personally so she can confirm she wants to proceed with this. Can you bring her here tomorrow? Absolutely. Returning home, Sarah was hopeful. But arriving at the building, she found the black car parked in front again. This time, it wasn't just Marcus. An elegant woman, with impeccable blonde hair and expensive clothes, stood beside the vehicle. It was Victoria Whitmore, Ashley's mother. Sarah took a deep breath and entered the building, ignoring the woman. But Victoria followed her to the gate. You're Sarah? The voice was cold, calculated. I am, and you weren't invited to be here. I need to speak with my daughter. Your daughter doesn't want to speak with you. How do you know? Are you keeping her prisoner? Sarah turned, facing the woman. Prisoner? I took her in when you and your husband abandoned her in the rain like a dog. She's here because she wants to be, because here she's treated with respect and dignity. Victoria had the decency to look minimally embarrassed. We didn't abandon her. It was a misunderstanding. Christopher stopped to buy something, and when he came back, Ashley was gone. Lies. She told me the truth. You were taking her to a forced commitment. It was for her own good. She's depressed, confused. After the accident, she became different. Different how? Accepting who she really is made her different in your eyes? Victoria pressed her lips together. I see she told you about this phase. It's not a phase, Mrs. Whitmore. It's who your daughter is. And the fact that you don't accept it doesn't give you the right to treat her like she's sick or broken. You don't understand. We have a reputation, a social position. We can't just... Oh, I understand perfectly. Your reputation is more important than your own daughter's happiness and mental health. Mr. Jackson, the building manager, approached. Is everything okay, Miss Sarah? It is, Mr. Jackson. Mrs. Whitmore was just leaving. Victoria looked around, noticing some neighbors watching from windows. This isn't going to end like this. We're going to get our daughter back, whatever it takes. Try. Only now Ashley has someone to protect her. Victoria got in the car and drove away. Sarah climbed the stairs with her legs shaking from adrenaline. When she entered the apartment, she found Ashley and Emma assembling a puzzle on the living room table. Your mother was here, Sarah said, sitting beside Ashley. Ashley's face lost color. What did she want? To take you back. But I made it clear that you're here by your own choice. She must be furious. She was. But it doesn't matter. Tomorrow we're going to talk to the lawyer and sort this out legally. Emma, sensing the tension, took Ashley's hand. Don't worry, Ashley. My mom is really tough when she wants to be. She won't let anyone take you. Ashley smiled through tears and hugged the girl. Thank you, sweetheart. That night, Sarah and Ashley talked at length about the next steps. Ashley was scared, but determined not to back down on her decision. Sarah, I need to ask you something, Ashley said, holding Sarah's hands. Why are you doing all this? It's not just kindness. You're risking getting involved in a fight with powerful people, spending time and resources you don't have to spare. Sarah took a deep breath. Because I care about you, Ashley. A lot. More than I imagined would be possible in such a short time. When I look at you, I see a courageous, intelligent, strong woman who deserves all the happiness in the world. And I think I'm falling in love with you. Ashley felt her heart race. I'm falling in love with you too, but I'm afraid of dragging you into my problems, of complicating your life and Emma's life. Emma adores you, and my life was already complicated before you arrived. But now, with you here, everything seems to make more sense. They kissed again, this time with more intensity, with more certainty. It was a kiss that sealed a silent commitment. They would be together, facing whatever came their way. On Tuesday, Sarah missed work to take Ashley to Ms. Davis's office. The lawyer spoke at length with Ashley, listening to her detailed account of the family situation, the accident, discovering her sexuality, and the forced commitment attempts. Ashley, I want you to know that you have total control over your life, Ms. Davis explained. No one can force you to return to your parents' house or commit you against your will. We're going to request a protective order that will prevent them from approaching you or Sarah without authorization. We'll also request access to your personal documents and assets that may be in your name. I don't have anything in my name. My father controlled everything. Then we're going after your rights. You were financially dependent on them, and there are legal issues we can explore. But this will take time. For now, the important thing is to guarantee your safety and autonomy. Ashley signed the necessary documents, and Ms. Davis promised she would file the request that same day. When they left the office, Ashley seemed lighter. I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm making my own decisions. And you're going to keep making them. Your life is yours, Ashley. They walked hand in hand down the avenue. A simple but significant gesture. Sarah knew there would be stares, judgments, but she didn't care. She was learning that love doesn't ask permission, doesn't follow rules. It simply happens, transforming everything around it. Back at the apartment, they found Emma watching cartoons with Mrs. Rodriguez. The neighbor pulled Sarah aside. Sarah, dear, I need to tell you. A man was here asking about you and Ashley. He said he was a private investigator, hired by her family. Sarah felt a chill. What did he want to know? He asked if I knew how long she'd been here, if you charged her anything, if there were other residents in the apartment. I didn't say anything, sent him away, but I thought you should know. Thank you for telling me, Mrs. Rodriguez, and for not saying anything. That girl is a sweetheart, Sarah. Anyone can see she's well here, that you take good care of each other. Whatever her family is planning, you can count on me to help. Sarah hugged the neighbor, moved. It was comforting to know she had support. That night, Sarah told Ashley about the investigator. They're building a case against us, Ashley said, anguished. They're going to try to prove you're taking advantage of me or that I'm being manipulated. Let them try. The truth is on our side, and Ms. Davis will take care of it. But the concern was planted. In the following days, Sarah and Ashley were more alert, noticing a strange car sometimes parked on the street, a man who seemed to be watching them when they went out. The tension increased when, on Friday, Sarah received a call at work. It was Marcus. "Sarah, I need to talk to you." "Without Ashley. It's important. I have nothing to say to you. It's about a proposal. Listen before you hang up." Sarah hesitated, but curiosity spoke louder. "What do you want?" "My parents are willing to make a deal. They'll pay all the expenses you've had with Ashley, plus a compensation of $50,000 if you convince her to come back home." Sarah felt anger rise. "You're trying to bribe me? I'm trying to resolve this in a civilized way. You're a single mother, Sarah. This money could change your life and your daughter's life. It could give you stability. At the cost of Ashley's happiness? Never. You're being foolish. Ashley isn't going to stay with you forever. When she gets tired of this situation, she'll go back to the comfort only we can provide. And you'll be left alone, with nothing." "I'd rather be alone and keep my dignity than sell someone I love." There was silence on the other end. "You love my sister?" "Yes. And unlike you all, I accept her exactly as she is." Marcus hung up without saying anything else. Sarah was shaking, but also strengthened in her conviction. Nothing and no one was going to separate her from Ashley. The protective order was granted in the second week. Ashley now had a court order preventing her family from approaching her or Sarah without prior authorization. The news brought immense relief to both, but they knew the Whitmore family wouldn't give up easily. Sarah got an interview for Ashley at an NGO that worked with inclusion of people with disabilities in the job market. Ashley, with her background in English literature, was hired to give online tutoring classes to children and teenagers. It was remote work with flexible hours, perfect for her situation. When Ashley received her first paycheck, she cried with emotion. "It's my money, earned by me. I never imagined how important this would be." "You deserve it, Ashley. And this is just the beginning." The routine in the apartment was increasingly harmonious. Emma now called Ashley Aunt Ashley and wouldn't leave her side. Sarah and Ashley shared not only the space, but dreams, plans, and growing intimacy. They hadn't yet taken the next physical step in their relationship, respecting each other's timing, but the love between them was palpable in every gesture, every look, every word. If you're following this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see how everything unfolds. A month after Ashley's arrival, Sarah organized a small celebration dinner. She invited Mrs. Rodriguez, Mr. Jackson, and Ms. Davis, the people who had been fundamental in that journey. The small apartment got crowded, but the atmosphere was one of joy and hope. "A toast," Ms. Davis raised her glass, "to Ashley, who had the courage to choose her own life, and to Sarah, who showed that kindness and compassion can change lives. May you continue to be light for each other, and for everyone lucky enough to know you." Everyone toasted, and Ashley was radiant. In that moment, surrounded by people who truly cared about her, she felt she finally had a home, but the peace would be temporary. The next morning, a Friday, Sarah was at work when she received a desperate call from Ashley. "Sarah, you need to come home now." "What happened?" "Child Protective Services is here. Someone made an anonymous report saying Emma is at risk, living with people of questionable morals. They want to take Emma." Sarah felt the world collapse. "Don't let them take her. I'm on my way." She caught a cab, something she rarely did because of the cost, and got home in record time. 2 social workers were in the apartment, asking questions to Ashley and Emma, who was scared. "I'm the mother." Sarah entered breathlessly. "What's happening?" "Ms. Sarah Mitchell?" one of the workers asked. "We received a report that the child is living in an inadequate environment." "Inadequate in what sense?" "My daughter is well cared for, well fed, goes to school, is vaccinated." "What's inadequate?" The worker looked uncomfortable at Ashley. "The report mentions that the child is being exposed to an immoral lifestyle, living with 2 women in a same-sex relationship." Sarah felt rage explode. "This is discrimination. There's nothing immoral about 2 women loving each other, and my daughter is being raised with love, respect, and solid values." "I understand your indignation, Ms. Mitchell, but we need to investigate every report. We're going to ask some questions and assess the situation." For the next hour, Sarah and Ashley answered invasive questions about their relationship, about Emma's routine, about the household finances. The girl stayed the whole time clinging to Sarah, trembling. The workers talked amongst themselves and then addressed Sarah. For now, we don't see reason to remove the child. The apartment is clean and organized. The child appears healthy and well cared for. But we're going to open temporary monitoring to ensure everything is within standards. This is persecution, Sarah said through gritted teeth. I understand your frustration, but we're just doing our job. After the workers left, Sarah hugged Emma and Ashley, the three crying together. It was them, wasn't it? Ashley said bitterly. My family made this report. Probably, but they're not going to get anything. Emma is fine. Anyone can see that. But the episode left marks. Emma started having nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night, asking if she was going to be taken away. Sarah had to talk to the school psychologist so the girl could receive support. Ashley felt guilty. I brought this to you. Maybe I should... Don't finish that sentence, Sarah interrupted her. You didn't bring anything. Who's doing this is your family, not you. And we're going to get through this together. Ms. Davis filed an action against the anonymous report, arguing it was clearly an attempt at persecution based on prejudice. But lawsuits take time. And meanwhile, Sarah and Ashley had to live under constant scrutiny from the system. The pressure was taking its toll. Sarah started having constant headaches, and Ashley developed anxiety whenever someone knocked on the door. But they found strength in each other, in intimate moments at night when they finally could talk about their fears and hopes. Sometimes I'm afraid you'll regret it, Ashley confessed one night. Bringing me into your life, all this trouble. Sarah kissed her forehead. Never. You're the best thing that's happened to me in years. Yes, it's difficult now. But I've been through difficult things before, and I survived. And this time, I'm not alone. I have you. I love you, Sarah. In a way I never imagined I could love someone. I love you too, Ashley, and we're going to win this battle, together. They kissed, a long and passionate kiss, which sealed once again the commitment to face any storm together. At the end of that turbulent month, unexpected news came. Marcus showed up at the apartment, violating the restraining order, but this time with a different expression. Not arrogance, but something close to regret. Ashley, I need to talk to you. Please. Sarah wanted to send him away, but Ashley signaled it was okay. They talked in the building's common area, with Sarah nearby. I did something I shouldn't have, Marcus began. I was the one who made the report to Child Protective Services. Our parents asked me to, and I just obeyed, as I always did. Why, Marcus? Why do this to an innocent child? Because I'm a coward, he replied, his voice choked. I always have been. I always did what Mom and Dad said without questioning. But when I saw what our report caused, when I heard that the girl was having nightmares, I couldn't sleep anymore. And what do you want now? Forgiveness. I don't expect forgiveness. I just came to warn you that I'm not going to participate in this anymore. I'm going to tell Ms. Davis that I was the one who made the report, and that it was unfounded. And I'm going to testify against our parents if necessary. Ashley was shocked. Why? You're going to turn against them? Because it's wrong. All of this is wrong. You're my sister, Ashley, and I didn't defend you when I should have. I let them treat you like you were less than human, and that deeply shames me. Marcus, you don't have to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I'm on your side now, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to fix what I helped break. Marcus left, leaving Ashley stunned. That night, she told Sarah everything. Do you think it's true? Do you think he really changed? I don't know. Sarah answered honestly. But if it's true, this could change everything. His testimony about the false report and the forced commitment attempts would be very powerful. In the following days, Marcus kept his word. He sought out Ms. Davis and confessed everything, including providing emails and messages proving the family was orchestrating a smear campaign against Sarah and Ashley. With this evidence, Ms. Davis not only managed to remove the Child Protective Services monitoring, but also sue Christopher and Victoria Whitmore for moral harassment, false reporting, and attempted forced commitment. The victory was small, but significant. Ashley was finally beginning to free herself from the chains of her family. 3 months passed since Marcus's turnaround. Christopher and Victoria Whitmore, facing lawsuits and the possibility of serious penalties, finally backed down. Through lawyers, they proposed an agreement. They would leave Ashley alone, no longer bother her, and in return, she would renounce any inheritance or rights to the family's assets. Ashley accepted without hesitation. "I don't want anything from them. I just want my freedom." The agreement was signed, and for the first time in months, Sarah and Ashley could breathe easy. The storm had passed. Marcus maintained contact with Ashley, trying to rebuild the sibling relationship. He had distanced himself from his parents and was in therapy, trying to understand and deconstruct years of prejudice and submission. It was a slow process, but Ashley was willing to give him a chance. "I can't condemn Marcus forever," she explained to Sarah. "He was trapped in the same system I was. At least he had the courage to get out." Sarah respected Ashley's decision, although she still had reservations. With the legal situation resolved, Sarah and Ashley could finally live without fear. They made their union official at a courthouse, in a simple but emotional ceremony, with Emma as maid of honor, Mrs. Rodriguez, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Davis, and Marcus as witnesses. Emma was radiant in her new dress, holding a bouquet of daisies. "Now, is Ashley really my other mom?" "If you want me to be, my love," Ashley responded, moved. "I do. That way I have two moms and I'm twice as loved." There wasn't a dry eye in that small Chicago courthouse. Loved this story? Subscribe to the channel to follow more heartwarming stories like this one. With her first salary as an online teacher, Ashley had managed to buy a motorized wheelchair, which gave her much more autonomy. She now went out alone to handle her things, went to college. She had managed to resume her English literature degree with a full scholarship and felt truly independent. Sarah also had a professional victory. Her boss, impressed with her dedication and resilience during those difficult months, offered her a promotion. The salary increase wasn't huge, but it meant stability and recognition. The small apartment in Logan Square continued to be their home. They had plans to eventually move to a bigger, more accessible place for Ashley, but there was no rush. That space had witnessed the birth of their love and had invaluable sentimental value. One Saturday, 6 months after the stormy night, Sarah woke up to a delicious smell coming from the kitchen. She found Ashley preparing a special breakfast, with Emma's help. "What are we celebrating?" Sarah asked, kissing both. 6 months, Ashley replied, smiling. 6 months since you pulled me out of the rain and changed my life forever. Sarah felt her eyes well up. "You changed mine too. You taught me that love doesn't have just one form, that family is who we choose, and that strength comes from unexpected places." They had breakfast together, talking and laughing, Emma telling funny stories from school. It was a simple, everyday moment, but full of meaning. After breakfast, while Emma watched cartoons, Sarah and Ashley stayed on the apartment's small balcony, watching Chicago's busy life happening down below. "I was thinking," Ashley said, intertwining her fingers with Sarah's, "about writing a book about our story. Not exactly as it happened, but inspired by it. A story of love, overcoming, and acceptance. I think that's an incredible idea. You're a talented writer." "Do you think people will relate to it?" "I'm sure of it. There are so many Ashleys out there, trapped in families that don't accept them, and so many Sarahs who have the capacity to love beyond what they thought possible. Our story can give hope." Ashley kissed Sarah softly. "Thank you for saving me." "You saved me too, Ashley. You saved me from a life that was just survival. You taught me to truly live." They stayed embraced, watching the city where their lives had intertwined so unexpectedly and beautifully. That night, after putting Emma to bed, Sarah and Ashley talked about the future. Ashley wanted to continue her studies, maybe get a master's in literature. Sarah dreamed of opening a small business of her own. Emma wanted to be a teacher like Aunt Ashley. They were possible, achievable dreams that gave purpose and direction. "You know what I love most about you?" Sarah asked, caressing Ashley's face. "What?" "Your resilience. You went through so much, lost so much, but you never lost yourself. You never let them break you. I stayed whole because I found you at the right time. You were my anchor in the storm. And you were my light. You showed me it's possible to love without limits, without barriers. They kissed. A deep, passionate kiss that carried all the love and all the gratitude they felt for each other. That night, in their small Chicago apartment, two souls who had found each other in adversity celebrated the love that had been born from compassion and flourished in courage. The path hadn't been easy. They had faced prejudice, family rejection, legal threats, and social judgments. But together, they had survived and thrived. They had proven that true love knows no barriers, doesn't bow to intolerance. Months later, on a Sunday afternoon, the apartment received an unexpected visit. Marcus showed up accompanied by a young woman. "Ashley, Sarah, this is Jennifer, my girlfriend." Introductions were made, and it soon became clear that Jennifer was an open-minded, intelligent woman, genuinely interested in getting to know Ashley. During lunch that Sarah improvised, Marcus told how he met Jennifer in a support group for family members learning to deal with their own prejudices. "I was destroyed," Marcus confessed. "I realized I'd wasted years being a puppet for my parents, hurting the people I loved. Jennifer helped me understand it's never too late to change." Ashley held her brother's hand. "I'm proud of you, Marcus. I know it wasn't easy. You two inspired me. Seeing your courage, the genuine love, made me question everything our parents taught us." Emma, always curious, asked, "Uncle Marcus, are you going to marry Jennifer?" Marcus smiled. "Who knows, kiddo? But if I do, you have to be our maid of honor." "I accept." That afternoon was filled with laughter, stories, and family connection. It was the kind of family Ashley had always dreamed of. Not perfect, but real, built on acceptance and true love. As evening fell, after everyone left, Sarah, Ashley, and Emma stayed on the balcony watching the city lights turn on one by one. "Mom, can I ask a question?" Emma said, resting her head on Sarah's lap. "Of course, honey. At school, there's a boy who said it's wrong to have two moms. Is that true?" Sarah and Ashley exchanged a look. It was inevitable that Emma would face this kind of situation. "It's not wrong, my love," Ashley responded gently. "There are many types of families in the world. Some have a dad and a mom, others have just a dad or just a mom. Some have two dads or two moms. And some have grandparents, aunts and uncles, or other people who care with love. What makes a family special isn't what it looks like, but the love that exists between the people. So love is the most important thing?" "Exactly," Sarah completed. "And you are very loved, Emma, by me, by Ashley, by Mrs. Rodriguez, by Mr. Jackson, by Uncle Marcus. There are so many people who love you. I love you too. Very, very, very much." The girl fell asleep right there, on Sarah's lap, and Ashley covered them both with a blanket. The Chicago sky was exceptionally starry that night, and the two women stayed in silence, just appreciating the moment of peace. "You know what's funny?" Ashley broke the silence. "I spent so many years of my life trying to be what my parents wanted, trying to fit into a mold that was never made for me, and I was so unhappy, so lost. And then came the accident, and then the rejection, and that night in the rain, and I thought I had lost everything. And actually, I had gained everything. I lost the false security of a family that never truly accepted me. But I gained you. I gained Emma. I gained my freedom. I gained the chance to be myself, without masks. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't change anything." Sarah kissed her forehead. "I wouldn't either. Because everything we went through brought us here, to this perfect moment." Weeks later, Ashley received news that left her radiant. Her short story had been selected for an anthology of new American writers. It was a small publication, but significant, the first step in her literary career. Sarah organized a surprise party at the apartment to celebrate. She invited all the friends who had been part of that journey: Mrs. Rodriguez, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Davis, Marcus and Jennifer, some of Sarah's co-workers, and even Emma's teachers from school who had supported the family. When Ashley came home and saw everyone shouting, "Surprise!" she couldn't hold back tears of joy. "You guys are amazing. You didn't have to." "Of course we did." Sarah hugged her. "You deserve to be celebrated, Ashley. Your achievement is our achievement." During the party, Ms. Davis made a toast to Ashley, who taught us that courage isn't the absence of fear. but the decision to move forward despite it. And to Sarah, who showed us that kindness and compassion can change lives. May you continue to be light for each other, and for everyone lucky enough to know you. Everyone toasted, and Ashley felt she was finally in the right place, with the right people. That night, after everyone left and Emma was asleep, Sarah and Ashley lay together in bed, bodies intertwined, hearts beating in sync. Sarah? Thank you for saving me that night. You saved me too, remember? You saved me from a life without passion, without true love. Will we always be like this? So happy, Sarah thought for a moment. I don't know if we'll always be happy. Life has its challenges, its storms. But I know we're going to face everything together, and that makes all the difference. Ashley smiled in the dark. Together. Always together. And there, in that small apartment in Logan Square, two women whom fate had united on a stormy night continued writing their love story, proving that the best stories aren't those that start perfect, but those where two hearts decide, each day, to choose love, acceptance, and the courage to be who they truly are. Sarah and Ashley's love wasn't just a romance story. It was a story of liberation, self-discovery, and overcoming. It was proof that family isn't defined by blood ties or social approval, but by choice, commitment, and unconditional love. And while Chicago continued its frenetic life outside, inside that modest but love-filled home, three people, Sarah, Ashley, and Emma, slept peacefully, knowing they had in each other the greatest treasure anyone can have, a true home, built on the solid foundation of love that doesn't judge, doesn't exclude, doesn't feel ashamed, a love that simply is in all its beauty and authenticity. This was the story Beyond All Odds, a narrative of love, courage, and new beginnings set in Chicago, USA. If you were moved by this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more American stories that touch the heart.